Now I wish. Now I wish. Now I wish. Now we are dreaming every day to get drunk by the weekend. We were so small, but our dreams so big. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Dancing every Saturday with boys in the club. We were just kids, but we thought we were in love. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now I wish we would have taken more pictures. Now I wish we won't just see us at Christmas. Now I wish we would have been more honest. Cause now we are. We are uninspired. You're still in my mind, but there's no reply. Was our time just a lie? Liking all these posts and regret my decisions. 10:30, I'm alone in the kitchen, yeah. Oh yeah. Holding all your hands when we knew it was the last time. We were just kids, but I'll keep it for a long time, yeah. Oh yeah. Being a child and growing up, being young, no one told us the pain. Now I wish we would have taken more pictures. Now I wish we won't just see us at Christmas. Now I wish we would have been more honest. Cause now we are. We are uninspired. You're still in my mind, but there's no reply. Was our time just a lie? Now I'm getting tired. You keep getting high. Give me no reply. No reply. We are uninspired. You're still in my mind, but there's no reply. Was our time just a lie?
Sound of the Pigeon podcast. Sound of the Pigeon podcast.
Son of a Pigeon podcast.
Start.
Yes.
Son of a Pigeon podcast. Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm really good. How are you?
Very, very nice. Yes. It's been a funny day. I took a nap yesterday
Mm-hmm.
at 7.
At 7?
Yeah, 7 in the evening. And I wanted to have only 15 minutes of nap, and then it became 3 hours. And then I was awake most of the night.
Oh no.
Yes. But it
Oh
was
my
funny.
God.
How are you, Svivi?
I'm
Svisi, sorry.
Svisi. Yeah, it's okay.
Svisi.
Both my names are a bit like not difficult. I mean, so my actual name is Svenja Isabel, and Svenja is mostly so difficult for people to say that I always introduce myself with Isabel, and that's how I'm just like merging them both together. But even Svisi seems to be difficult sometimes. Yeah, it's the S and V, right? That makes it a bit like.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I'm really good. I had a good night's sleep, a bit too little, I think, but I slept quite well, and I had a nice breakfast, and that's it. Then I came here. Like my day is not very long so far.
Yeah, we're quite early here. We started at 11 already.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Early birds.
For musicians, it's like AM. You know, when musicians wake in the AM, either they're
Something's
very
wrong.
serious. Yeah, something's wrong.
So you're not an early bird usually.
I am.
Ah, you are.
Yes, I'm with the sun. The sun is what gets me going. So
Ah.
when there is sun in the sky, I'm awake.
Okay, that's really nice.
Yeah, it can be nice, but also it can be a curse. Because sometimes I want to sleep, but there is sun.
The sun, yeah.
And I cannot. It's just my hormones just
Yeah.
want to do something.
But that's really understandable. I feel like I don't know. I used to live in Mariendorf, and I had my bed right next to the window, and I did not really have curtains, and the ones that I had were really shit, so I never used them. So I just got woken up by the sun every morning. And it was crazy because then when summer came, it was like 6 a.m. and I was like
Yes.
so awake and I couldn't sleep again
Yes.
because I was like, no, I'm ready now. Like the sun woke me up.
It also goes down quite late.
Yeah,
You still have
it's
sun
crazy.
here in Berlin at 10 in the night, and there is a lot of energy for me.
Yeah, that's true. Even though I think now it feels kind of like winter, like from the from the weather.
Yeah, the
It doesn't
weather is
really
strange.
feel like summer anymore. No, it's crazy.
Yeah, we're on the first day of September.
Mm-hmm.
So
God.
there is no summer anymore. Is it official?
I think it's official end of September or something.
October.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also love the seasons. I come
Yes.
from Jerusalem.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah, and it's only
So
sunny
nice.
there.
Oh,
Sunny and
God,
then a little
holy.
bit of rain. But here there are the four seasons, which is
Yeah.
really, really nice.
Can you imagine? Yeah, I think I couldn't live at a place where they don't have like 4 seasons because I really need it. And sometimes I feel like, okay, now I need autumn to come and now I need winter. And last year, like during winter, I was in South America. I was in Peru, Colombia, and Costa Rica, and it was crazy because like it was so hot in November, and I came back to Germany to like -degrees, snowfall, and I was like, "This, I can't. I need to have a transition. I need to have an autumn in between. I can't just go from like super hot to super cold, or just stay with like super hot. Like, I was dying."
And what about places that mostly summer? Let's say Los Angeles or even Portugal, something a bit
Yeah,
closer.
true. I don't know. I think I couldn't live there for a long time. I think I could probably like I could be there for like months or years, but not for like forever. I feel like it's not. I need winter.
You need winter.
I do.
You
I
need the
need
short
winter.
days of darkness.
I need winter. I need darkness. I need like clouds. I need like rain. I love rain. My dad is from the UK, and he's like from a very northern part of England, and I don't. It's always raining. They don't have snow, but just rain, and that's pretty much it. And it's so interesting because like whenever I'm there, I'm just happy, even though the weather is really shit. But sometimes in Germany, I feel like when the weather is shit, my mood is like, okay, what can I do? But yeah, sometimes it's just crazy.
What is it about winter that you like?
I don't know. I think you can make it for yourself really cozy, and you don't have to. I don't know. I mean, I love summer and I love being able to do stuff outside, but I just think that I mean, I get like those heat strokes really easily. I already got like 2, and it's really difficult. And so sometimes I'm like, oh god, the sun is so exhausting. And I just feel like in winter I can just read and write at home without feeling like I missed something out, like
Yeah, everything is more calm down,
yeah,
slow down.
everything is really slowed down, and I enjoy that so much because I feel like it doesn't have to be always there doesn't have to be always a party. Like I love partying and I love festivals and I love when it's really sunny late at night and you can still do something, but I just like the change. I think that's what I like most. I think just winter I could never do this. Like a friend of mine lives in Finland, and they have like these dark periods and the sun
Yes.
periods. Oh my god,
This is
I would
extreme.
die. It's really so difficult.
There is an island northern to Norway, and it belongs to Norway. And they really have those very extreme shifts. So they have only darkness and only light.
I couldn't
Half a
live
year
there.
of complete darkness.
What's your favorite season?
I very resonate with what you say. I come from Jerusalem, so it's warm most of the time. And also there is maybe 1 month of spring when everything is sprouting and blooming, and then it's too hot and too dry, so it becomes a bit yellowish. It also depends where in Israel, because there are many places, and in Jerusalem it's more mountain, so it's more dry, a bit more chilled. Then if you go to the shore, it's very humid, and this can be really evil.
Oh god.
So I like the mountainside more. And when I came here to Berlin, to Germany, to
Yeah.
Europe, it was the first time in my life that I really encountered the concept of winter.
Wow.
Yes, all of a sudden, it's not just cold.
Hmm.
There is also less light.
Yes, it's crazy, right?
And for me, when I'm highly synchronized with the sun and I wake up relatively early, so I wake up like 6 a.m. sometimes and it's dark.
It's so
I
crazy.
don't know what to do with myself, but it's so challenging for me that afterwards I feel that like there is some growth that's been happened there.
I feel like winter is super difficult mentally and emotionally because it's so dark and so
Yeah,
cold. But then in spring, you just realize how good it actually was to have like this like hard period, like this exhausting time of not really being able to do a lot and just slowing down because it forces you to just meet yourself.
yeah,
You
exactly.
can't meet a lot, like, I mean, you can meet a lot of people, but then it's always like inside or always in like a warm place. And so most times you're just like inside somewhere, and I think it's a time to reflect, which
Yes,
is quite nice.
yes, I definitely agree with that. And it also helped me to understand the actual concept of winter. It doesn't have to be weather winter. It can be a lot of ways. And this I learned from a big mentor of mine. His name is Jim Rohn.
Jim Rohn.
He did not really mentor me personally, but I listened to everything I can from him. And he
Oh,
got this
nice.
concept that winter is coming. You cannot make winter disappear by erasing January from the calendar.
Yeah,
And you need to face it.
yeah,
It must be faced. So you have a few different kind of winters in life. It can be maybe financial winter when you have no money. It can be emotional winter. It can be relationship winters, when you got your heart broken completely and there is no one there and it's just you with yourself. It can be maybe for musicians, kind of inspiration winter when there
true.
is no music coming.
Yeah,
And those times, I think they have the most leverage that we can use from them because
yeah,
we go low, we go deep, and it's like the roots of a tree. The deeper the roots are, so the higher the tree can bloom and the
yeah.
stronger it is. And this
That's
is the
super
opportunity
true.
that comes with winter.
Yes. Yeah, it's really nice. I like also the concept of applying seasons to your life, like not in just like a time like in the sense of time, but more in the sense of like how it feels. Because I feel like sometimes you are in like an emotional spring, right? And
Yeah.
you just feel that even though it's not spring. It's just like it's really interesting how we connect the seasons with something that goes on within us and within our relationships. I think it's very nice. Like it's very nice metaphor. I love that
Thank you.
very very
Yeah,
much.
it's everything is just it's the same, You have
Mm,
seasons on Earth which they're a bit more extended, but then we have our seasons as humans.
mm,
And you with a female body, you have your seasons as a
yeah,
woman, because
yeah,
the month is like the whole seasons
yes,
squeezed into one month, and for me it's the daily.
yeah,
So I have like faster clock as a man with my body and my hormones,
yeah,
and it's all the same but different ratios and different frequencies.
yeah. It's so interesting because I feel like I'm just learning so much about like how the time span of a woman or a person with with their period is just so different than this. Okay, it's just a day. Like it's a whole month.
Yeah,
You have to kind of face and kind of organize. And I'm still learning that because I just realized like that concept of how your month is so different from the month of a person that does not have their period. Yeah, and just very recently. So it's super interesting. It's also a bit frightening.
it's frightening.
It's frightening how your hormones and how your body is like such a huge part of your life, and how it can also how it just I don't know influences how you feel and what you do. Because sometimes I feel like people are they're so alienated from their bodies and from
Yes,
their selves. They're just think
and
about their
their
work and
emotions as
stuff.
well.
Yeah, true. And I feel like emotions and bodies, like, it's just something we have and we have to get to know, and then we can actually deal with it in a way of like caring for ourselves, our bodies, our emotions, and not deal with it in a way of like getting rid of it.
Yeah, which
It's,
a lot of us are doing.
right?
And I think the most obvious one is our body smell.
Yes,
we
yeah,
really
true.
want to get rid of our body smell.
True, it's even
Either
like in
it's
the small
shampoos that
things.
we have, right, or soaps that we use that the smell doesn't go off for maybe a day if it's
Yeah,
strong, if maybe even more.
yeah,
And I think it's
true,
because also the food that we eat is not really healthy. And so it
true,
comes out in our body smell, and then we are stinky, but we don't
true.
want to admit it, so we just cover it with something.
That's actually so true. I think also what's interesting about that is that we try to make food also smell really nice. And we have this like food has to be like something
Yeah,
nice and stuff. And if it smells weird, it's kind of, you know, like we shouldn't, even though sometimes things that smell like unknown to certain noses are like really healthy. You know, some
yeah,
things need to be bitter, some things need to be certain smell or a certain taste. But I feel like if you just look at like fast food stuff, they just make it smell the way it does, so
yeah.
that we know, "Ooh, okay, it's that one." But then
But
actually, it's
there is
not
nothing
really
there.
good. Yeah,
It's empty food, basically.
yeah, so crazy.
Yeah, this is very interesting. It's very, very interesting, those stuff. And also with how we feel, this is something we also like to put down under the rug and just make
Yes,
it disappear. If we feel a bit of headache, so we take already a pill.
yeah,
If we're tired, so we take something to energize
yeah.
us.
Some coffee.
Some coffee, yeah, coffee in the good. It's a not necessarily, but coffee is in the good case. You know,
Yeah.
there are other many stuff that people take that really fucks them up.
Yes, it's I think so crazy how like society deals with alcohol. Like I mean, especially in Western societies, I'm not really like I only speak of experience from like being German and British, and I feel like their alcohol is just something, you know, just wrap up your day, drink a glass of alcohol, and we just are so away from the thought that that is actually a drug. I mean,
Yeah,
people can use it, people can drink, like that's super fine, but it's so much it's so much away from what it actually is in most people's minds. Most people think just, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna have my beer after work, and they don't even realize that that's actually a drug they're taking. And
yeah,
it's so weird how we just not realize that, because it's just like
it's normal.
it's normal. It's
Also,
crazy.
coffee. Caffeine
Yeah,
is quite powerful
yeah.
drug.
Also like sugar,
Sugar.
cheese. I heard cheese is a drug too.
Yeah, there is something with cheese that it's like heroin. The effect
Yeah,
of it makes us feel very, very relaxed and satisfied,
yeah. So
like
weird.
opiatic. But those stuff, it's okay. I think the first of all the quality, what really makes difference, and then also the quantity, and that's
Yes, it's
the
always the
difference.
quantity.
Yeah, between poison and actual medicine.
Yeah,
And I think everybody is also different, so everyone needs to check for themselves what is good, and also
for
they need to
sure.
listen to their bodies. I think we know when we eat something that is not good. We
Yes.
feel it. We know that it's not good. There's
Yeah.
some heaviness about it. And yeah, it's really important to understand what we feel. Yeah. How did you understood about your period that there is something that is going on, without you even having any control of it?
I think it just, to be honest, it's just like talking to friends and also social media, which is super weird because I mean I have like a doctor, you know, and this doctor was just like, yeah, you can take the pill, you can have this like a spiral thing so it stops. But it was so much like it was not really about how I actually feel with my period and how I can actually act so that I feel really good and I don't feel like it's like an annoyance, because I mean it's just natural, and I don't want to feel like, oh my god, I hate being a woman because I have a period. Like that's not how it's supposed to be. So I was really confused with just getting like things to get rid of the period kind of with. So I was just talking to friends and I was like looking up a few things, and I think just recently I encountered that there's like the different phases of your period that you have. Like I don't know the English names, but there's different phases that in some you feel very active and you want to do like cardio and you want to eat like a lot of carbs, and and then there's some where you need to slow down. And I'm just now like kind of tracking my period to get to know when this phase is. Yeah, but it's crazy that it's not a like really much talked about topic, because I feel like a lot of women hate their period, and a lot of my friends are like, oh my god, I want to get rid of it.
There is shame around
There's
it.
so much shame. There's also so much like, I mean, it's just, you can have real like huge pain when you're on your period. And there's still like so much stigma and so much, oh my God, is she on her period? Ha ha ha. Like, it's not funny. Like, it's actual painful, and it's actually like just a part of our body bleeding out, like a thing that was actually able to have a child. Like, that's something really cool, right? Like, I
Yeah.
think
Someone told me it's the body getting angry at you that you did not fertilize it. And then you feel
well, I
this
don't know.
pain.
I don't know. I think my body is celebrating that I did not fertilize it. I'm always like, yes, I'm on my period.
No babies now.
No babies now. No, I think it's crazy how there's so much stigma around it, but it's actually just something very natural and something very, I mean, more than half of the world's population face that, right? There's more than half of the world's population have a uterus.
Yeah.
And like, it's not being talked about enough.
It's so awkward. This is
It's-
really strange.
Right?
There is also a conspiracy that we have 12 months, but it's there just to confuse us.
For what?
Because a woman's period is exactly a month, right? And we have every month is not exactly a month.
Yeah.
So it's a bit more than 4 weeks. There is only 1 month, which is February, which
Yeah.
is the only one that is 4 weeks. So if you take all the days in the year and you divide them into weeks, you will have exact 13 months and 1 day extra. Yeah.
Crazy.
And every day will be the same day. So every Sunday, it will be the first, let's say, I don't know, whatever day it will
Yeah.
be. But what will change is the name of the month. And humans used to go by this system.
How long then? When did they change? I mean,
I don't know when did they change it. I think maybe like 400 or 500 years ago or something like that. But also the names of the months, they're not really... they don't make sense. Like November, it's Nueve. So
yeah.
it's the 9th month,
the
but it's the 11th. So what's there? The name is different.
But I think it was probably church, right? I think it feels like something Christian church was like.
Yeah, also the conquerors. So
Yeah.
you have
Yeah.
Julius.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's June, but maybe someone else.
You know, probably this. You know, like the god. Was it a god? The
Maybe.
goddess?
Probably, yeah, one of
Yeah.
the emperors or something like that. So then they just changed it. And now because you have a bit more than 4 weeks, and you think, oh, it's a new month, but not really. So
Yeah.
as a woman, basically, when it's ideally and the body works perfectly, so you have every day, you know exactly where it's going to happen. So the cycle is very much
Yeah.
in orbit. But then it can be very confusing because every second of the month, it's not the same day.
Yeah,
And it's
true.
not really every second of the month.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting conspiracies.
Yeah, it's really interesting, but I feel like even with the months we have now, it's still like you can track it yourself and just write down, and then if it comes regularly, like for me, I think mine mostly comes like beginning of the month, and it always delays itself for 2 days. Like, it's always 2 days later. Which is interesting because then I always know, okay, like in September it might be like next week, but then next year in January it would be probably end of the month because it always, gets delayed a bit. And I can live with that. I don't need to have it exactly all the time, but yeah, it's quite interesting conspiracy.
Yeah, I think it's also not very much like the same for every woman.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's
So-
really different. It's like, it's crazy different also, because I mean, some people have it for 2 weeks. Like 2 weeks is crazy long. Some
2
people,
weeks the bleeding.
Yeah. 2 weeks bleeding, which is crazy. I have only like 5 days mostly. Pretty much exact 5 days, which is really good for me. And I mean, some people have like those kind of depression episode before. Some people have it after. It's super different from each person. But I mean, I think there should be so much more research done on that, right? Because like,
Yeah.
then you know how your hormones actually affect your body.
But there are many coaches that coaches the feminine, and they give you all those hints about
Yeah.
how to go with this.
Yeah, true.
Do you have any practices that you do in order to make it more connective for your body?
I feel like the days before I have to sleep very long and very like, I have to sleep enough, but more than enough. so that I don't get too emotional. And also just like journal. And then during my period, I'm mostly more energetic, even though that's kind of not how, like in those phases that you see online, they always say that during your period it's time to reflect, but I feel like it's more the days before, and then when I'm on my period I mostly like to be active and about and like just do stuff. Yeah, so I just kind of listen to my body, and if I don't feel like, I mean, I dance a lot, and if I'm on my period and I feel like, okay, I can't dance today, then I'm not doing it. Like I really just try to listen to my body, even though like with my period, but also generally just listen to what my body feels like and what I should do. Like, yeah, that's pretty much my way to go about it.
Are there times in your period that you feel more creative and you write more music?
Oh, that's interesting. That's super interesting. I actually don't know. I've never tracked that. I really have to. I think probably it's probably during my period that I write more songs.
The creation is happening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting. I should really track that. Like, that's interesting. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I think I'm always just writing whenever I feel like it, but I also try to make it more regularly, just more like having a routine of always writing, not just when I'm inspired. Because I feel like sometimes what you said, like, there's this like lack of inspiration, and you're just like, oh my God, what am I going to write about? But if you just have a practice of just writing in general, like all the time, I think it's quite easy then to just come up with things
Yeah,
as you
I
go.
really agree with that. And I think this is what a lot of musicians are lacking
Yeah,
because they wait for
right.
the inspiration to come to them. But I think what you're doing is so good because you practice the craft of making songs.
Yes,
And then when the inspiration comes, because you practice the craft so good already, then it's just easier to execute.
it is. It is so much easier. I feel also like, I mean, I started writing songs like 1.5 years ago. Like actually, because I've written poetry before and I've written short stories, and I still do. But I feel like I started writing songs like 1.5 years ago, and then I've just been writing and writing, and it's so interesting to see how my first songs are very much on, okay, I got inspired, I write about this. And now the more I write, I sometimes use old poems that I wrote and redo them into like a song, or I just come up with things, and it's a very different process, and I like to see how it like evaluates over time. And also because I mean, even even if I write in the end it is not a song but a poet, like it's always good. It's always good to write, like whatever it is, and I love writing. It's yeah, I think it's nice to have inspiration, but it's also doable without.
Yes, yes. And sometimes maybe also had this experience when you just write things to practice the writing and then you come to it maybe a few months afterwards.
And it's actually quite good.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then you make some little bit modifications and voila,
Yeah.
there is more text, more songs.
Yeah. And we really need more text and more songs. I think there can't be enough songs in the world.
Do you think so? Even
I
today, with
even
all the
today I
Spotify
think so.
releases, how
I
many
think
songs have been released today?
today
Like a
only
million songs a
probably
day. I don't
million
know.
songs. No, but I think I like how everyone now could just do music and go and put stuff out there, whereas like let's say 50 years ago was very like you must have been very privileged to have
Yeah.
songs released, have had like connections, or know people, or be from like a certain family or something, and nowadays you can just make a SoundCloud account and be
Yeah.
a SoundCloud rapper, and there's no shame in that. I mean, can just do it if you feel like it.
Yeah, it's easier today. It's cheaper today.
That's true.
And yeah, today is the best opportunity for musicians, even though people really like to complain and to bitch about Spotify and all the noise. But I think
Yeah.
those who complain about it, and this is something that they don't want to hear, that's the ugly truth, that they're not good enough.
Yes.
And it's also for us if we put out a song, and it happened to me many times. I
Yeah.
put out a song and I thought this is my
This is
best
it.
creation, and everyone must listen to it, and everyone should like it and support me and
Yeah.
share it. And it did not happen.
Yeah.
It was not good enough.
And I think sometimes it's not the right time, or it's just not the right crowd. And then what I love about how music industry is now, you can just go back to the song, you know, like you could just, in 2 years, maybe there's someone looking at your Spotify and is like, oh wow, this
Yeah.
song, like no one seems to like it, but I love it. And then it can blow up. Like
Yeah,
it's never too late. And I feel like
exactly.
50 or 60 years ago, it was like you bring out a single and it's there, like people either buy it or they don't. But then it's kind of, it's gone, or like it's in a library or something, but it's not that easily accessible.
Just to get a single back then, 50 years ago, that was so
Yes.
difficult.
Yes.
And
And they've been so expensive also,
they're
in a
very
way, right?
expensive. And also the deals were a bit strange back then. You know, the labels would take most of the money. And
God.
only the smart artist will have their own music. And today is the best time. Really, no complaints about it. Even
Yeah.
if your music sucks now and you don't get so much attraction. Yeah, it doesn't have to be that the music sucks. You know, it can be many things.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think make an artist? Let's say get the best songs, best productions. What else does an artist need, do you think, in order to be there and make something that inspire other people? How can we reach audience?
It's so difficult because I feel like everyone has to look at what they actually want to achieve, you know. And I think if people want to have like a huge audience, they need a good marketing strategy. They need to have people who help. And I think whatever your goal is, it's always easiest if you connect to other artists, and if you work together, if you do projects together, but also if you just support projects from other artists, and then they will support your projects. And I think networking and community is like really,
Yeah.
really important. And to be successful at networking and community, you need to be also like a decent person. And so I think if you're kind, and if you believe in what you want to do, and also if you keep going and are patient with yourself and with others, I think then you can network quite well. And if you have a good like group of people, a group of artists, musicians, whatever it may be, even if it's people who design your cover, or people who have like make like some social media management or something, if you just connect to those people also on a friendship level, not just on like this, okay, I need you to get more audience, then I think you can be successful also in a very like sustainable way. Because if you have a certain group of people always supporting you, even if your song flops, you don't die from it, you know.
Yeah.
And you have people who have your back. I think it's really important to yeah, to be a nice person and connect.
Yeah, to be a decent person, it's the most
Yeah.
important quality. And then
Right.
the second most important quality is communication.
Yes, true. You need to have a good communication with with other artists, but also with your fans, with your listeners, with whoever. Like you just need to be able to communicate.
Yes, exactly. And also volume of content. And this is something I find it quite easy today. There are so many AI tools that do all this work.
Yeah, it's
It's not
crazy.
100%, and if you really want to get it done, maybe it's better to pay someone.
Yeah.
But for the little money that they cost, they can make a lot of impact for artists today.
Yeah. Do you use AI a lot?
Yeah, I do.
Nice.
I use it for all the son of a pigeon photos or whatever it is that it's generate. And I love it. I just take the original
Nice.
photo. If people now will go to Instagram to Son of a Pigeon, they will see on the top left there is a photo of Son of a Pigeon.
I'm gonna have a look here. I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, we can check it out all together.
Okay, so Son of a Pigeon, and then
You can see the top left photo. So this is the only photo that is real.
that's
And
crazy.
then I take this photo and I have some other techniques, and then I curate all the other photos that you see. And those photos, I love it because then
They're so nice.
they're surrounding the artist,
Yeah.
and it creates such a beautiful visual in the Instagram feed, which is very, very appealing.
Yes.
So this I do that with the AI, and then also the reels, I also do it with AI. I just
That's
upload
good.
like 1.5 hours, depends how many podcasts I publish.
Mm-hmm.
And then it finds the keywords that might be viral, but not viral yet. And
Oh
from those
wow.
keywords, basically, it starts to bring like 1 minute of video.
So good. Oh my
Yes,
god.
it's
I didn't know
amazing.
that there's like that's possible. How nice.
And it
And
creates all those reels with all the aspect ratio for Instagram and TikTok and all this. And it creates the
nice.
subtitles and it creates everything. It also tells me what was good about this clip.
That's so
It gives me
good.
like a score of
Yeah.
good and relevance. It's incredible.
But it's also so nice that you can brand yourself as an artist with AI, like that you can choose, okay, what picture resembles what I want to be, like what I
Yeah.
want to seem like. That's so good.
Yeah, also the branding of Son of a Pigeon, the way it looks. I
Yeah.
think it was created by a good friend of mine, Marta. And she
Hmm.
just saw me. She saw what my music is about and she said, I have something for you.
Nice.
And
That's so
she
good.
did it, everything by Marta Janovic. And well, there
Shout out
is,
to her.
yeah, shout out to Marta. She was on the podcast.
How
Yeah, so
nice.
there is an episode with her.
Really
We
nice.
just we talked and talked and talked.
So good. To be honest, I've really never used, I mean, okay, that's not true. I did use AI, but I never used like ChatGPT or something like that. Just because I feel like I'm a grandma sometimes with like
Really?
technology. It's so bad. Like I don't know.
Which tool did you use?
I use this. Oh my god, I use this one thing, um, where you can also like the picture thing where you can make yourself like a cartoon character or something
Yes.
like the same, probably, or like an equal one. I mean, I use also AI to correct like when I write like an email or something. Um,
How do you use it? You send it to the ChatGPT?
no,
Or
I just use like Grammarly or something
all
like
right.
that. Yeah. So I mean, it's also like artificial intelligence, that they use. But I mean, like I never used ChatGPT. Like I just feel like I don't need it. But I still feel like a grandma sometimes when people use it all the time.
Yeah, this is something that is incredible how much the acceleration is speeding up with
Hmm.
AI. It came out, ChatGPT, on Christmas last year.
Ah, what a nice gift.
Yeah, somewhere in this area
Yeah.
of time, and it was it, the way it is right now and the way it was in Christmas, it's like 100 times better.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's what I also like. I mean, even though I don't really use it, I do notice how like AI programs change and how good they become in
Yeah.
so many ways. And I think I really don't like when people are like, oh my god, we have to be so frightened, everything's gonna be bad. Like it's the same. I mean, like 100 years ago, people were like, oh my god, the radio is gonna destroy this and that. Like it's so bad. And then years before, people would be probably the same about writing, about like the printing. And I
Yeah.
mean, you could always say it with the next thing in technology. And I'm not like, oh my god, this is the best idea ever. But I don't like when people are so, oh my god, this will destroy the world. And just, I don't know, just like knack about it all the time.
It's a major shift.
It is. And it can be a chance. And I
There
think,
is a great chance right now.
yeah,
It's great opportunity.
sure.
If you manage to use Facebook in the beginning of it,
Mm-hmm.
and you would ride the wave with Facebook,
Yeah.
you would grow with them. You can have pages with millions of likes
Yeah.
just by being there
Yeah.
from the beginning.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's very interesting. What I like about AI the most is that it saves so much time and money.
It
Instead
does.
of having people who are doing that, AI is doing that.
Mm.
Also with podcast, you can do that. Once I will start to have videos, so what will happen? You can put it into AI. You assign every audio to every video, and then
Mm-hmm.
AI cuts
Oh,
the
that's
takes.
so good.
It's incredible.
That's so good. It takes so much time to put the right timing from a video and audio. Oh my god. It's so annoying. Crazy.
Yeah, it's really crazy. I love this stuff. And let's talk about your music a little bit
Yes.
because we played two songs.
Yes.
One of them is called No Reply, which I really love the production of the song and the chords and the soundscape and also the vocals. There are lots of effects on the vocals.
Yes, I love that too. I was working together with a very, very great producer and also like dear friend. He's called Thick Pools on Instagram. Shout out to him. Like wow, was so nice working together.
Great job.
And it's interesting because I feel like I was writing the song, and like whenever I write a song, I have the melody, but I do not play any instrument. Like I just start playing the piano and the ukulele now, and also, I mean, the ukulele is, it's a real instrument, but like I don't count this right now. So I just sing it into my phone, and then I'm like, okay, what can I do there? What can I add? And that's how we started with the song, and it's crazy how much it grew from the first audio that I sent to the producer to what it is now and to what we'll release. Like it's a crazy growth.
Did you thought it will sound like this in the end?
Not at all.
No.
To be honest, I was listening to a few like more folk pop songs, like Noah Kanan. I really, really like his music. Even though, I mean, I really like folk in general and like folk pop. And he was singing, I think it's called Stick Season, the song. And he kind of sings about how he like is still in his hometown and everyone else is away, and how he feels like lonely, and how he like remembers how all his friends were and how he was with his friends. And I was listening to the song and I was like, it's so interesting to have his perspective on this topic, but I'd kind of like to write my own. So I just came up with this, okay, like how did it, like, how was my life with my friends in my hometown just a year ago, or like 1.5 years ago? And then how am I feeling now? And like, how is the connection to my friends now? And that's actually how the song came about. And now it's kind of an electronic pop, hyper pop song. And it started from this like folky folk pop idea, which is super interesting.
This is the magic of collaborations.
Right? It changed, like, it really also changed the depth of the song. And I was not imagining to have like, I mean, I love the sounds that he added and all the small like little details. It's really thought through, and I feel like without, I could have never gotten to the point where I am now with the song.
Yes, it's really felt all the little details in the production. I think those stuff, we feel it. We don't know how much effort was put into that, but
Yeah.
when we listen to it sounds flawless.
Yes, right?
And it takes a lot of energy to do that. Even if it looks easy and someone is doing it really, really fast, it's because they grinded for years.
Yes. Yeah, it's so interesting also to see how other people bring ideas onto your songs, and then to have like, I feel like a song is a small baby you just brought out to the world, and like you need to take care of it and stuff, and you have to like handle it with love. And I just think that we really did that, and I'm really proud of what of our end result.
Yes, and probably the song is already published when we release the episode.
Hopefully.
So, yeah. So it's already on Spotify. Yes.
Wherever else you want to find it, Spotify, iTunes, or Deezer, all these things, wherever you listen to songs, it's probably out there.
Yeah, there is also will be a link to Spotify, so people can scroll down, and then you can click on it.
Yes, that'd be really
listen
nice.
to it. Yeah, the production is incredible. What is in the podcast is a stripped down version that we played first time 20 minutes before we started to record the podcast, and we met the first time right now.
Yeah.
But it went well.
It went so well, and it was also interesting to see how it sounds like acoustic, no effects, just this is kind of how, this was kind of the idea that I had first place, like just guitar and and voice. And it's interesting to see that now happening, whereas like the whole electronic part came before. And I really like that about like how this podcast is made, like how you just make everything like with the people and perform the songs, and that's
Thank
really
you.
amazing.
Yeah, I love this. It was very sad for me that there was no podcast like that. There is no podcasts, especially in Berlin, which is one of the biggest music centers of the world.
It's crazy, right? It's so crazy. I was looking for some when I listened to like a few episodes. I was like, okay, that's such a good concept. Probably a lot of people are doing it as well. I was finding zero, like not even somewhere else. It's crazy.
Yeah, the only thing that is close to these podcasts is those that I really admire, like Joe Rogan. He does this podcast where he just talk with people, and he brings people that sometimes you don't even you don't agree sometimes with their opinions or their worldview, and they just talk and they present stuff. Lex Friedman is also a dude that likes to bring a lot of cool people and he just talks with them.
That's
And
nice.
I love this concept. There is something deeper when you hear people talking for at least an hour, even more. I get to know the person.
Yeah, and also beyond what they bring out, like their songs or whatever. I mean, there is a few podcasts that I also like to listen on the other, and like Call Her Daddy by Alex Cooper. Such a good podcast. She's also like hosting and bringing people, but they mostly talk. I don't know. They mostly don't talk a lot about like worldviews or something. Which there's a podcast by Jay Shetty.
Yeah, he's also great.
He's really nice.
I also really love him.
Yeah, I really like his podcast. Open House is also a nice podcast, but that's more for people who have a period and want to learn about it, and also just general like relationship and everything. It's also very nice.
You also started a podcast.
Yes, I did. Oh my god, I'm so inconsistent. You know, there's like I have zero problems with sitting down to write a song. I could like do this, incorporate that into my week, like, you know, every week I could write a song like that, no problem. But making a podcast episode, wow. I made the first in April and that's it. But I'm working on it.
What is difficult for you with podcasts?
Just finding the time, to be honest.
Sorry to cut you, but it's also different than this concept because it's only you.
Yeah, it's only me talking about like a topic. And I think for me, finding the time to sit down, write the concept, like the concept of the episode, and then sit down to actually record it, to have a look over it again. And I really just sometimes, I mean, I prioritize different things right now. And I think it's so important for me to say, I'm like, to not say, oh, I'm so busy, I'm too busy to do it. I just feel like I had other priorities the past some months. I was at like an acting program that took a lot of my time. And now I do sometimes work in like short movies as an actress. And I mean, I've been like recording the song. I'm also working in the cinema, which is really nice. So I have just a lot of things. And I think the podcast just has not been my priority for the last few months. But now that I'm really starting to make a plan how to do it with the music, because I'm actually like, I'm hooked. Like I need to stay with music right now. I mean, I love acting and I still really, really want to do that as well. But I feel like, okay, now I want to go also in the direction of music, and to reach audience, it's also nice to have something like a podcast, even though it's nothing related to my songs. Like it's nothing related to my music. It's more just me talking about whatever I feel like. But it's still a way to find people who might like your music, and that's, I think, very important. So now it becomes a priority again. And I think probably when this podcast is out, I have another episode on. So I already have two.
And there will be also a link to your podcast.
That would be so nice.
Yeah, so people can
really
hear
nice.
it. It's in German though.
Yeah, it's in German.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
German people can listen, or people who want to practice their German.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I also write songs in German sometimes, and I think I want to have my music like bilingual, because I feel it's easier to express my thoughts and feelings in German. Sometimes it's easier to express them in English, but my podcast is just gonna be German.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know something funny about podcasts?
Well,
so from all the people who start podcast, only 90% continue beyond 20 episodes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's crazy.
And from those people, from those who continued beyond 20 episodes, only 10% of them continued beyond 30 episodes.
10% of the... Wow.
Yeah, so just making 31 episodes
is already...
It puts you in the top 1%.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yes. It's crazy.
How many episodes do you have out?
Now, as we talk, I think you are maybe the 46th episode. Or somewhere there, 47, I'm not so sure.
Wow, so you're in the top 1%.
Yeah, definitely. But then, there are some crazy beasts with a lot of plays on their podcast. But I'm getting there. It's a lot of patience, as you said.
It is, right? Yeah, and I just feel like sometimes it's difficult to to make that a priority before you're like very, very successful. It's the same with music, I think. Just sitting down being like, okay, I'm just gonna do this now, even though I haven't reached the like really successful, I mean like Jay Shetty or something. But it's so good to simply just do it, and to do it and to keep on doing it, because then you will reach like, and I think sometimes it's so easy to give up way before. Like it's easy after like second, third episode to be like, okay, I'm not gonna do this. But actually pushing through like shows so much about like who you are as a person. That is super impressive, and I think it's
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean that's very, very good, and you're gonna be Jay Shetty level in like probably a year or so, and then I'll be like, oh my god, I was on the podcast.
Yeah, you never know who
You
is
never know.
listening. You never know anything.
Yeah.
All we know is what's happening right now, and this is also not. I'm not so sure sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And it's also we are who we are, right? And if we're really connected to ourselves, then everything we do is just extension of our being.
Yes.
So this is something I also noticed with you, that your music have certain topics that you talk about, and also your podcast talk about the similar topics that you sing about. So it's different aspects of you.
True.
The medium is a bit different. So songs, they have different sounds than podcasts, The information is different, but it's still you.
Yeah,
And
that's very true.
if you will write a book, probably it will also be kind of extension about you.
Yeah, I feel like also my poetry is whatever it talks about. I feel like my songs now, I mean, one is more about like how sometimes friendship ends and how you deal with that. And the other one is a bit more like a love song situation. And even though that's
This
like
is Never Told My Father.
Yeah. And even though those are like topics that probably a lot of people have been like singing about, I feel like everyone has a very different approach to that. And even if I write about more like society topics in a poetry, like if I would have a poetry collection or something, it is still my words, it's still my language, and every person has their own language, whether it is a podcast or a song or a poem, and super interesting.
Yeah, I love those many ways of how we can express ourselves. Also when someone is cooking, it's also a way of they expressing themselves.
True, everything's actually like, I mean, what you buy, how you greet people that you meet for the first time, how you go with your friends, like how you decorate your room, that's all like self-expression, and that's all, you can all do it very unconsciously, just on the side, and you can also do it with a lot of care, thinking about how you want to present yourself and who you are. And I mean, you don't have to always do it when you go grocery shopping, but like having that sometimes, like a bit of like mindfulness, is quite nice.
Yeah, it is very nice. It's also what I want to say. I don't know. I forgot.
Oh no!
I want to say something and then it just jumped from the cliff of my mind.
Happens sometimes. Happens so often to me, to be honest.
It's such a strange feeling, I was on it. I was locked. I really want to ask you something, and the moment I came to ask,
what was it about? No.
What was it about? About how we express ourselves. Oh, I realized what I wanted to say. Yeah, thank
really
you for
good.
asking. So what is very precious is the authenticity of the person. That's the most precious way someone can express themselves, and not judging, but there are some people who are not so authentic and they still kind of express something that is not themselves. And I would like to believe there are less than there are, but still it's something that is very difficult to find authenticity. And I think it's also a way where you can see if a person is authentic, if they are quite consistent with their expression.
That's true.
And you have that because your music is the experiences that you have, and then you talk about in the podcast the experiences that you have. And also there is a video that you sent me that you took part in.
Did I?
It was like a short film or something like that about a girl with her mom.
Yeah. It was. I mean, I didn't direct it. I was just acting in it. But
did you choose to be there?
Well, I was applying for it, and
Yeah.
they were like, "You fit the role. You we can take you." Yeah, but yeah, I mean, yeah,
It was pretty harsh.
yeah,
It's different from no reply, let's say. But there is still something that is you and the way you want to as well to present yourself out there. Because this is the first time that we meet, but before that we met like online. And when we meet online, there are some filters about how we want to be perceived by others, right?
yes, yeah. And I think there's really no shame in having those filters and
No,
wanting to like be
hell no.
perceived in a good way or in a certain way. But it's always interesting to meet people then in person, or to text with people that are so different on their Instagram page, and then to text with them and it's like, okay, you're actually not your Instagram page.
Yes.
But some people, I feel like, and I felt also like texting with you, like it it's like it makes sense, like the way you present yourself, the way we talk now, the way we like rehearse the song. It's all like, it gives me an impression of you that is not like, there's something off. And I feel with some people there is, and that's okay, but like it just makes you realize like what authenticity actually is, and like who presents themselves. I mean, we can never really be 100% authentic, because it's always, even if I take a
Yeah.
picture of myself, it's just this moment, and next moment I'm not the same anymore, and so that's not authentic. But we can at least just be mindful about how much we just act being someone else. And I think, as far as you're okay with the person you are, then you represent that. And then whatever you do, if it is like your social media, if it is a podcast or a song, it just becomes you. Because if you're fine with who you are, then
Yeah.
that's also what you put out into the world.
And it's also effortless
Mm-hmm.
once someone achieves this mindset.
Yes.
I remember my first podcasts, I was a little bit stressed. And maybe you're a bit stressed as well because
Yeah, because
everything
I
is
did.
recorded.
Because I didn't upload something in like 3 months.
Yeah, exactly. And it's stressful. And I was very stressed. And also to listen to myself talking afterwards, it's like watching my own photos. There is some therapy there.
Mm-hmm.
And with time, I got less and less sensitive, and I care less and less about what I say because this is me. I
Mm-hmm.
cannot fake myself for 40 episodes or 50 episodes. I can. It will take so much mental
Yeah, it would be
intensity.
it would be very difficult.
Yeah, so it doesn't make so much sense. So it's better to just relax into those
Yeah,
stuff, and
true.
whatever is coming out, it's coming out. And maybe also feel it with music or with being creative that sometimes my best work, I don't feel like it's really mine. I
That's
feel that I
interesting.
just channeled it outside and it went there, and whoever contributed.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, I feel like being stressed about how you look, what you like, listening to your own voice. Everyone can relate to that, but there's just you really get used to it in a way, right? And then you kind of you accept it.
It's also to adjust. If I want to sound more energetic and then I'm
Yeah,
listening to myself and I sound like this and I'm not
yeah,
so energetic as I thought I am, it's different.
yeah. True.
And then I realized, okay, I was not energetic as I wanted to be. I need to make something different.
But I mean, that's also the nice thing. Like, if you're in a mindset where you can listen to yourself and also criticize, but in a very constructive way, then you've already reached a level which is so nice. Because I mean, some people would just listen to themselves and shut it off and be like, okay, I can't. This is too embarrassing.
I was like that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was like that too. I just, with acting, you just do weird things, you know.
Yes.
You just
Like what? What is a weird
like,
thing that you did?
I mean, one time in acting class, we had to lay on the ground and just do everything that makes no sense. So we just, if we felt like jumping, we should have just, gotten up and jump. Some people were screaming. Someone was licking the wall. And there's no shame in that.
Eating the grass and
But
making sheep sounds.
it was like, okay, we just do whatever, and it's super weird. And if someone would film us now, this would be fucking embarrassing. But in the end, it's just a task, and you just do something. And then it's the same when you sing, you know, when you write something and you publish it, you set yourself a task, or you felt like there is a task given, maybe inspiration or whatever, and you just do it and you just put it out, and you can then say, okay, maybe I was screaming a bit too loud, I was licking the wall, now my tongue feels weird. Like you can have those constructive thoughts of like, wasn't the best idea, or was not the best. But if you just continue doing weird stuff, I think there's a certain point where you're like, okay, this is actually really good, and this could have been better, and then you can adjust, as you said, and make it better. I have a big problem with like pictures of myself sometimes. Like it's way better now, but I've just realized this like progress of how when I was younger I used to see a picture of myself, and how now I'm so much like whatever, like it's just me, I can't change it, and I like it, and it's okay. I think it's very important to just go through the embarrassment.
Yeah, it's there anyway. There is nothing to do with that. How do you approach your voice and singing? Because you just said that it's like a year and a half when you started to sing or write songs. Are you singing before that?
I think I was singing for my whole life. I had singing lessons when I was 14, but I sang before. Like I was always singing, like at home. I was always just like doing something with my voice, and some friends were like, hey, you can sing quite well, you know, won't you be at this performance? And I was way too scared, and I was super shy, and I was like, okay, I can never, like, it was a school performance. But then
that's the most evil ones, by the way.
The worst.
Because the smallest mistake that you have.
Oh my god.
Kids are very evil.
Kids are really bad. Like, but I didn't do anything. Like I didn't perform because I was like, no.
It's
But
scary.
then I took singing lessons after that. And then eventually I actually went to a choir of the school and also to a band. And we even had like those school performances. And it was okay. Like it went quite well. Like we had, our drummer was the worst. He had zero like passion.
Zero passion.
It was really bad. But apart from that, it was super fun. And then I just kept going. Now I have also some singing lessons here. And during this acting course I also had some like vocal training, and I'm just singing all the time, like as much as I can. I live in a two people's like shared flat, but I'm singing like all the time. I think my flatmate's probably hating me at this point, but I'm just doing it.
Do you think, or do you know?
No. I think she likes me, and she likes my voice, which is good. But she has a dog, and I think the dog is kind of like, oh my god, can she stop singing? Because it still like has to adjust. It just came. We just got the dog like she just got the dog. It's not my dog. Like a week ago. So the dog is still like very anxious and afraid. And I was just practicing like a song, and now I'm already like working on the next release and stuff. And so I was just singing a lot, and the dog was just like growling, like, stop it.
Well, now the dogs feel what it's like when they are barking somewhere, and they know the shit out of us. So good job.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, it's a dog, so it's okay. It's not my target audience. Anyway.
I've seen a very interesting video about how dogs perceive music. So they perceive life slower than us.
Mm-hmm.
So it means the sounds are lower. And this is, I think, why they can hear very high-pitched sounds, because when they experience reality slower, then the sound waves are getting longer and the pitch is getting lower.
Crazy.
So how dogs can hear bass, imagine this.
Oh my god, it must be super, super low.
And everything is maybe octave down.
Crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, you need to sing very high if you want to.
If I want to annoy him next time, I'm like, yeah, crazy.
And what about the song Never Told My Father?
How it came about?
Yeah. This song is very different from No Reply.
Right. It was... So I was in a theatre project in my hometown, Göttingen. And it was kind of like we had to write a song and then perform it. That was kind of the thing. And I had tons of songs already. Like I probably have like 40 songs in my phone that I just, I've written, and I was just like, okay, what am I gonna, like, what song do I feel like I'd like to work on? And this just kind of felt right. And the way we did it, it kind of reminds me of Taylor Swift in like All Too Well, or some of her like early songs, because it's very like singer-songwriter, girly, poppy, like, oh my God, never
About
told my
some love
father
back
about
then,
someone,
teenagers. Yeah.
It's really like pop story, and I just had my fun with it, to be honest, because I feel like my music is every song is very, very different and individual, and my most inspiration I take from like Lord, FKA Twigs, Kate Bush, like those people, but also like Charlie XCX. And I feel like No Reply is like Charlie XCX-ish. And Never Told My Father is just me trying to be Taylor Swift, which is a very, very different take. But I really enjoyed doing it, and I really like the song as well. I think I always have like the song stuck in my head a few like hours after I sang it, so it's it's in my head right now. And it's just fun. It's really just like a fun, cute song. I think I'd actually like to go into like a reproduction of it, and maybe change it from this very light-hearted, like girly thing into something more, or just add some things on top. But I'm really happy about like how it went. Yeah, I like it a lot, and it's literally about me having a situationship with someone who's a bit older than me. Yeah, that's kind of that's the song, and I didn't tell my father about it, even though I actually did. So
You did.
I actually
Explicitly
did.
or
Not
giving some
explicitly.
hints?
No, just like just kind of the name. I'm not even sure if I told the age.
All right. So if your father listened to the podcast, now
Sorry,
he
Dad.
knows.
Yeah, and also, yeah, no, but I just like this concept of, sometimes you don't tell your father, and you only tell your mother like a little bit. And there's one line where I say, I never told my friend about the blame, and it's like, because I told a friend about it, and I was like very explicitly told her about it, and she was like, oh my God, like he's so much older, blah blah. And that's kind of when I was like, okay, I didn't tell my dad at all. I only told my mom half of it, and the only friend I told, she's like blaming me now.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna write a song about it. But yeah, it was also just more like a fun kind of thing. But I think it's still this kind of blame I got because of that, even though it was not even like a very serious relationship. I felt like, okay, I want to have it in the song as well. Yeah, and that's how that came about.
It feels like teenage experience.
Yes.
Everyone had those experiences as a teenagers where they just want to explore the world.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be relationships. It can be many things. I remember first time I came with a tattoo. I was
yes.
18. Even before 18, maybe 3 weeks before that.
Ooh, crazy.
Yes, and I had my first tattoo, which is on my back. It's written in Hebrew.
What is written there?
It's written in English, as I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I fear no evil.
Oh.
Yeah, it's very deep one. I love
That's
it.
very nice.
I've seen, this TV series Lost. Have you heard about it?
No.
I think it's old already.
Okay.
It was before Netflix. It's pretty old. It's basically a story about people who are flying from LA to Australia, and then the plane crashes down in an island.
Wow. I think I know, but I haven't watched it. I've just heard of it.
Yeah, so there was this black dude who they made him very spiritual, like he's down with the earth, and he's the one who's channeling the energy. And there was this episode, I think it was him, yeah, and he was just saying, as I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I fear no evil. And he said that to bless someone else, so we will have the courage.
Crazy.
And something about this scene really got me.
That's so interesting.
it's so powerful. As
It
I walk
is.
through the valley of shadow of death, I fear
You
no
know,
evil.
evil.
So you don't
Crazy.
even fear death.
Yeah, but I mean that's good, right? There's a saying like there's a quote I think by Nietzsche or something. I actually don't know. And he said, "A man that lived well will never fear death and could die at any point,
Yeah.
because if you just go about life as we like talked about, like if you have a mindset and you just do things that feel right to you, then you don't fear death, because then you could just die at any point happily because you did whatever you wanted to achieve at the point you wanted it."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I did this tattoo, there was also a different meaning. When in the Jewish culture, you say this also when you pray on Friday. So there is the big meal, and you welcome the holy day of rest. So they say it there, and it's also been said when someone is dead.
Oh wow.
So they said in the ceremony when they put him down. And my dad really freaked out about it. I was the first kid who had also tattoo from the whole
Oh
family.
wow.
Yeah, so imagine
Crazy.
this, the black
God.
sheep. And I'm writing something from the Bible on my back, which is forbidden by any religious
Oh my god.
court. Yeah. So that's the same feeling that I had from the song, you know? When you do those like forbidden things, it's a
Yes.
bit more edgy, it gives a bit more vibrant to
Yeah.
life.
It's something that you feel is like forbidden in a way, but you still do it
Yeah.
for the plot.
Yeah, you just want to see what's going
Yeah.
there. What is there?
Crazy. How many tattoos do you have now? You have a few more,
I
huh?
have many tattoos. The latest that I have is on my wrist. Those ones, basically, they are the four elements.
Ah.
Even though there are two, but because it's a triangle, you can always flip it.
Ah.
Yeah.
That's very
So
smart.
this one is fire. This one is earth. And when you flip them, so fire becomes water and earth becomes air. And then I
Ah.
have the four elements with my hands.
Very nice.
Yes.
That's very nice.
And I have also this koi here.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I love this one. It's made by someone. His name is Daniel. I forgot his name. In Jerusalem, in Bizal Tattoo, and he's really a
Wow.
master. He's a true artist,
It looks really cool.
and he did a lot of freestyle in this tattoo.
Freestyle.
Yeah, we had the very
Wow.
basic concept of the fish and the waves, and he just made the general guidelines,
Wow.
and then the rest he did himself. And that was, I think, my first experience of having someone who's a really true artist, and I just let go and
That's
trusted him
nice. That's so nice.
without knowing what will be the
Yeah.
final result. Do
But
you have any tattoos?
I do. I have actually 6. They're really small. I think
Yeah?
when someone would see me like this, they would not assume that I
Yeah, you have
have.
one on your wrist.
I have one on my arm. It's in Latin because I had Latin in school. I was like one of those nerdy kids that chose Latin instead of Spanish. And it says, "The poet is born and not made." And it kind of means for me that you're born to write. Like if you feel like that, then maybe you're just born to write. I mean, I got this tattoo when I was 18. It
Is
was
that
my
the
first.
first one?
Yeah, it was my first one. But I still, I mean, if it made you happy at the time you got it, it's still a good choice. And I think about this, I think in that way about all my tattoos, because I mean, I have some more. I have like this one I got from a friend. It's like an eye on my ankle and a moon, but the eye is kind of the sun as well. And I have like a small, like a turtle.
A turtle.
Yeah, I have a lot of stuff on my ankles, like, and it's hand poked. And it's a turtle, and the shell is like, not the shell, but like the thing is a lotus, and then I have cherries that are hearts. It's the basic, the basic cuties, and then I have 2.
The basic cuties.
Then I have one on my hip that says bitch, and one on my like above the intimate area. I don't know how to say it, and it says "Life is sweet." Yeah, and
This
I
is
like
cool.
those. Those 2 are my favorites for sure.
What are they symbolizing for you?
Life is sweet. It's just it was crazy because I was with a friend after like our A levels or like stressful exams at the end of school. We went to London for like a week trip, and And we were just sitting in a park, and someone was like riding with a bicycle and screamed really loud, like, "Life is sweet." And then he was singing, and we were like, oh my God, like, he must be on drugs. But I kept thinking about this so much then, because I was like, we just make ourselves so stressed. And I realized that all my friends were just so stressed about how their grades are going to be, what their parents think about their choices when they want to study. And I'm like, those are so privileged problems.
Yeah.
This is so, like, all those, and they really, for these people, they seem like actual big problems. They seem like life or death decision. How their parents think about their, like, the course they study, and how they did in history A level. And I was like, life is actually so sweet and so nice and so enjoyable, especially if you're in like this privileged position of just having had this amazing education. I mean, it's not the best education, but compared to other countries, Germany has a good education. And
Yeah.
you and me as a German, and all those friends of mine as a German, have so good privileges that they can just use and have such an easy life. And I'm like, wow, how can they don't see it? And how can they just not acknowledge that and stress out about stuff that is so unimportant, actually, if you look at the whole world. And then I was just like, life is actually so sweet. And it's just kind of, on one hand, it's really a reminder for myself, okay, life is sweet, whatever comes, it's good. But then it's also a really nice tattoo just because of the place.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's really when I meet people that get to see my tattoo and get to read it, they're always like, ooh, nice, true. And I just kind of like that. And bitch one, the one on my hip, is first of all, it was from a hand poke artist, and she made this design, and then was like posting it on her story, and was like, whoever wants to have it, just DM me. And I read it, and I was like, wow, I need this. Like, I was like, this is for me, because I feel like there's so much shame about, like, generally being a woman. It's quite difficult at times. I mean, there's difficulties in being a man as well. And there's difficulties in being a woman. There's difficulties in being whatever, like, and so I think, like, a long time in my life, I was like, okay, there's certain things that I can't do. There's certain, there's just, I mean, my mother is a feminist, and she tried to raise me like that, but it's very difficult if you see just women getting paid less. I mean, this whole stigma about, like, period, general, like, abortion care, like, general health care for women is really difficult sometimes, even in a country like Germany. And then there's so much shame about women being, like, liking sex, or just, like, going out with people. And there's so much, even in swear words, there's a lot of misogyny. So, for example, there's like, son of a bitch, where you actually insult the mother. And then there's, like, a lot of things like whore, bitch. There's a lot of other words in German as well that are super bad. And I just feel like reclaiming those words as a woman for myself, or, like, as a person that could get this comment for myself, is just a powerful move, because I feel like I might be, and I'd rather be proud of it. I'd rather be like, yes, even because I think, like, you can just reconnotate words.
Yeah.
And I think it's very, very powerful to do so.
Yeah, I really like this. Just behind you, there is a whiteboard, and it says "Pain is a bliss," and it's very similar, I think, because bitch is bitch.
Yeah.
It's just the way you relate to that.
Yeah.
Either it empowers you or takes you down. And
Yeah.
the same with pain.
Yes, it is.
Pain is gonna be there no matter what.
Yeah.
And it can help you or take you down.
Yeah. It's
And
the same with any difficulty, actually.
it's very beautiful, this thought.
Yeah.
And then you tattoo that to reclaim your feminine side of yourself.
Yeah,
and
just
to be proud of it and to embrace it.
Yes. And it was so nice. I mean, I think it's now 2 years old already. God, I'm getting old.
2 years young.
2 years young. And I felt it, like, when I got the tattoo, I was like, yes, like, this feels so right. This feels like just like buy to misogynist comments that you get as a woman, or like as a person perceived as a woman. And so yeah, that was really powerful, and I loved it, and I still love it. But it's the same with The Life is Sweet. When I wear a bikini, you can see it, and then people are sometimes like looking at it like, did she really? And I love the expressions on people's faces when they see it. That's also one of the reasons why I got it.
See the expressions
Yeah.
to provoke people.
Some people are like, it's crazy. Yeah, it's interesting, but I
So
love it.
interesting what a few combinations of letters can make.
Right.
And how it's not even the word, it's how people relate to that. If someone is getting really angry about it, so they're very angry people. If someone is laughing about it and say this is cool,
Yeah.
so they're very cool people.
Yeah, it's crazy how much actually everything, like you should never take anything personal, because it's always just about others. Like if someone makes a dumb comment, they have a problem, they have something, and it's just the way you perceive their action that you can work on. Like there's this like stoic philosophy where you can't, I mean, there's things you can't change. It's just the way you deal with it. It's just the way you handle what you can't change. If someone insults you, you can't change it. Like they did it. They just said it. The insult is out there, whatever, or the pain is out there. It's just how do you deal with it? How do you come about it? Like what do you cope with it? How do you cope with it? That is like, that makes you a strong person or not. And I mean, for some people it's difficult to cope with pain or to deal with whatever, because they just have like they just don't have the privilege of taking the time to reflect on it. But then for some people it could be more easy, they don't have to take pain as it is, but can take pain as a bliss.
For the majority of people it's not easy, even for me.
Yeah.
When someone is telling me some stuff that are triggering me, good or bad, it's there, and it's very difficult to control it. I do believe that also happiness is not something that is very good as people perceive. They want to be happy, and I think happiness and depression are the same thing but different polarities. And the way to be is in the middle, because also to be too much happy, it's not so, it's blinding, like to be depressed.
Yeah, you kind of need to have a balance, and you need to be in connection with all your emotions.
Yes.
And only then you can, I think it's very important to be calm as a person.
Yeah, and not to react, which is something that happens automatically. If I'll write, I will tell you something about you, and I might hit this spot where it really triggers without even knowing.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you can have emotional reaction. It can be good or bad. Yeah.
I'll be really angry, scream at you.
Yeah, or angry, or you can be very soft all of a sudden if it's something nice that I told you.
True.
So those stuff, we have so many filters that we don't even aware of, that are just walking in the background, and then
that's true. But it's so difficult also to put them off, and I think sometimes it's also not.
It's impossible.
Yeah, it's impossible, and sometimes it's not necessary. Sometimes it's okay to have them on. Like, I mean, just imagine like you're at work and then someone says something triggering, and you I don't know.
A way to help me with that is just to imagine, and this is the truth that I believe, that everyone does what they think is the best action for themselves and for the people around them. It happened to me when I went to a festival, and the checking people, the security people, so they were very strict. I came with the car, and after the concert, we want to take all our gear from the main stage. So we had to go through the festival with the car. And they checked us once, and it was a bit dark, so they could not really see well, but they understood we have the car pass and everything.
Yeah.
And then really 20 seconds afterwards came another one from the security, maybe like the big boss or something like that. And he really started to check us, and he really made sure that like every tiny detail, that we're really supposed to be there and we have the access. And to be in the car, it made me angry.
Yeah,
I wanted
can
to
imagine.
like, go away, motherfucker. Just get him out with my elbow out of the window. But then I thought, he's a security man. This is his job, to make sure that the festival is secure and no one that is not supposed to be there is not going there.
Yeah.
And just by thinking about this, I was grateful that he's doing his job really, really well. And feeling grateful towards him, I cannot be angry.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. I think sometimes it's just very difficult to see that those people are actually just doing their job.
It's very difficult, yes.
Yeah, and sometimes people are also, I mean, they might have a bad day, or they might have been triggered by something, and then they're extra mean, even though it's not required. But it's really difficult to take a step back and to be like, okay, it has nothing to do with me. It's all them, and they're actually they just try to get over their day.
Yeah, they do what is the best thing
Yeah.
for them. So if they're being evil, imagine how much pain they have inside of them.
Right. Like,
and they need to let it out because it
Yeah.
gives them a little bit of like release.
Yeah, I also think sometimes, I think in Berlin it's crazy. There's a lot of catcalling here.
What is it?
Catcalling is like when I walk down the street and people are like, "Ooh, nice ass," or like whistling or something. Those
Right.
things.
This
It's
I
really
never had it.
it's really, really bad, and I think it's also more difficult here in Berlin. But sometimes sometimes I'm just really angry and I just want to like slap them or something, or like spit on the ground in front of them. And sometimes I have to like remember, like, okay, that person thought it was okay to say that. Like, that guy thought calling me whatever is okay to say. Like, he did this thinking that that's just a usual thing to do. And then I'm like, how bad must his life and his relationship to women, to his mother, to his wife, his children, how bad must his relationship be that he thinks insulting me and like being really creepy and making me feel like anxious is a good thing to do. Like, and then it's not that I have then compassion for him, but it's more that I just feel, okay, I don't even want to get involved with a person that is in the mindset like him. And it's difficult because it happens so much, but I really realize that sometimes I'm just like, it's not worth my energy. It's not worth my angriness. He's just a dude being stupid and just...
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gives a little bit of consolation, no? A feeling that, all right, this is who they are. There's nothing I can change about it.
Yeah.
I don't take it personally.
Yeah.
They're just in a very low place.
Yeah. And they mostly are. Like, it's crazy. You just realize, okay, wow, that's their only gateway to have a bit of freedom and fun, is being mean to other people. Then I'm really sorry.
Yeah. And also for us, when we encounter those kind of experiences, this is also a test for us. And it's a challenge for us.
Big challenge.
Yeah, it can help us a lot. If you've been constantly in those situations, which are not comfortable, and I think no one really need to go through those situations. If you don't feel safe walking in the streets, it's a major problem.
Yeah.
But then it makes you stronger.
Yeah, it does. It does. I think it's a crazy balance, because I also think no one should have those encounters. No one needs to have those experiences to grow. But then if you're in it, you could just grow from it rather than let it destroy you. And I think it is a balance you have to make, because saying, yeah, like it made me stronger, I don't mean that was necessary for me. I really still see that some things are not necessary, and it's not okay that they happen, but then again, it did make me stronger, or it does make people stronger as a person. And I think that's really, really interesting. It's just, really how you deal with it and how you reflect on it as well.
Yes. This is part of our savage lives as humans. When things that it feels like it should not really happen, because we way over those periods of time as humans, but they're still happening. And for me, it's already like a reminder that we're still animals.
Yeah.
And we're still, it's nice to see all the buildings around us and everything is built really nicely and it's comfortable, and we have our routes that we can go, and public transport and roads and internet and businesses and all this. So it really takes us away from the fact that everything is wild. And if we imagine what it's like to be a human maybe 1,000 years ago, I think today it's still similar, but sometimes we can get carried away from the illusion that we created in this world as humans. And what I mean by that is that, when a lion wants to eat, so it just goes find some antelope or whatever, and it goes and it hunts the animal. It does not do it because the lion are evil, but they want to eat. And also don't ask anyone.
Yeah.
And imagine what it's like to be antelope. All of a sudden you have some lions coming
Eating.
towards you. Yeah. And for them, it's not comfortable at all, I
Yeah.
assume, to be eaten alive sometimes. This is really
Yeah.
savage things
Yeah.
to have. And I think the more we can accept with this reality that we are still there, then all the stuff that like should not really happen and was still happening, I think it's easier for me to cope with them.
Yeah, I think it's still, for me, I think it's still difficult too, because as we live in this made society, I think I sometimes just don't understand why people are not able to at least try to comfort people. And I think we don't have to be like, we don't have to accept that some people are just idiots. But then again, accepting is sometimes easiest, because I mean, I can be against it. I can, write a poem against it. I can go demonstrating. I can whatever. But if something bad happens, it's always just easiest to be like, okay, that's what happened. That's what it is. I can't change it now. Yeah, I think it's really difficult. But I mean, generally accepting that we're just animals is super important. I mean, there are some languages where they don't even have the separation between humans and animals, where just everything is like.
Yeah, so in German it's like that.
No, I think in German, no, we have Tiere und Menschen.
Oh, all right, I understand. I thought the way you pronounce like animal, a dog can be a he in German,
Ah,
or if it's a female dog, it's a she, right?
yeah, that's true. We do
Yeah.
have that. Yeah, we do have that. Yeah, but I think there's like languages where they really don't have the separation of humans and animals. There's just like one word for all of it, for like every living
You
thing.
think? Which language is it?
I've read a book by Küpera Gümüşay. She's like a German like linguist. And in her book she I actually forgot. It's not like a common language. But she spoke in the book about that there is some languages, and there's also languages that don't have words for like left and right. They use like north, west, east. And,
Yeah, this I heard about. Yeah.
And it's so interesting how much language can actually shape what you see.
And how does it shapes their behavior when they don't have any separation between how they relate to animals and to humans?
Then I mean, it makes them be more. It makes them be more in connection with the animals, and I think it also changes the way they eat animals, because then it's like, okay, like with the antelope and the lion, if an antelope dies, someone will eat it. That's the way. That's like the kind of evolutionary circle, right? Like there can't be too many antelopes, so lions eat it. There can't be too many lions, because then there will be too little antelopes. Like it always has to be a balance. And I think in those societies where there is no language, where there's no word for animals and human as a separation, but just one word for it all, it makes the people more in connection with how much they eat and what they eat. And then it just, if you think, okay, we're all the same, we're all just living like living creatures on earth, then I think you would not be going to McDonald's eating like 5 hamburgers. And I mean, there's no shame, for some people they can't afford other food, or they don't see that there is other options. But I feel like if you're more in contact, and if you just realize that those are also living creatures just as we are, you have a different relation to what you eat. Yeah. And I think that's how like it affects.
Do you eat meat?
Um, I was vegetarian like for 5 years or 6 years, and then I was vegan past like 2 years. But then when I was traveling, I was eating a bit of fish and also a bit of meat, and now I'm like, I tried to be vegan, but not pressuring myself. And you?
I came to Berlin as a vegan, which is funny. I realized that milk is not really making me feel good when I was back in
Mm-hmm.
Israel. I remember also eating some food, like chicken and some meat, and sometimes I did not feel so good.
Mm-hmm.
And this not feeling good, it was more like I'm about to become sick.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's some, I don't know how really to describe it, like electricity in my stomach, but not excitement. Electricity,
Yeah.
like something is sluggish. And used to have also like digestion problems afterwards, or when I would drink milk or eat cheeses, for
Ah.
example. And then I started to see all those videos about how it's been produced, and you see all those huge farms,
Yes.
and you see so many cows are crowded in one place. And
Yeah.
afterwards, they've been served as food. And then you see also the milk industry, and you see all the inflammation those cows have while they're being milked. And it's
Yeah.
really awful.
It's really, really bad. It really. Oh, yeah. I know. I've
Yeah.
watched like some documentaries, and it's. Oh.
Yeah, it makes me sick physically and mentally when I
Mm-hmm.
see that. And I start to think, all right, so if those food is not good for me, there are a lot of people who are vegan. So let's see what it's all about. And I was a bit chubby as well in this period of time of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And then I became vegan, so I was eating porridge in the morning with some fruit, and then I would make myself like nice rice usually in the afternoons. Yeah, avocado, a lot of avocado, and also a lot of green salads,
Mm-hmm.
just a lot of leaves. But I was not feeling so good as well, and I
Ah,
thought this is
crazy.
interesting. So I'm vegan now, and I'm not eating this meat that was making me feel so bad. But I also don't feel so good, and I don't really lose weight. And then I discovered the keto diet. Do
Mm-hmm.
you know this?
Yeah, I've heard of it, but I'm not really sure.
The concept is basically not to eat any carbs. So you rely mostly on fats.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because when you eat fat, you become thinner. You lose weight.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and it's sugar that makes us become fat because when we eat sugar, then we have trigger of insulin in our bodies, and the
Mm-hmm.
insulin basically takes the sugar and convert it into fat. So when we don't have enough sugar, we can use the fat as energy. And when we're
Ah.
using the fat as energy instead of insulin to help us process this energy, we have ketone bodies.
Mm.
And it's like driving on an electric car, so it's better. It's better for our brains to run on keto.
So then, what do you eat? Like, what's your like? What did you replace with the porridge?
I just removed it, and I was eating mostly salads, mushrooms, a lot of tahini,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of
Nice.
nuts, a lot of fats,
Mm-hmm.
avocado, a lot of them as well. Avocado is life. Avocado is delicious.
I like avocado too, but I'm not one of those. Oh my god, I love I need it, but it's nice.
Yeah, I don't need it. Now I went to a Turkish market and they had like 6 avocados in
Ooh.
€2, in the end of the day. And I got it and wow, I really missed that.
Life changer.
Yes,
Okay,
what
nice.
really changed my life was a friend of mine came to me with wild pig.
Wild.
Wild
Ooh.
pig. Yeah.
Ah.
While I was still like this experimenting
Mm-hmm.
in ketosis, being vegan, and we made this like steaks of wild pig, wild boar, and that was something that I just knew that this is good for my body.
Okay. Interesting.
Yes, I felt immediately energized, and I did not feel heavy afterwards. I did not feel
That's
sick
good.
afterwards. And then I started to go for hunt after really good food. And I realized the quality is something that really, really matters.
Mm-hmm.
And with this, I think it doesn't matter if you're vegan, if you eat meat. What is
Yeah.
really important is where you get your food from and the quality of the food.
Yeah.
Because when we get sick from cows and chickens and all these really bad treated animals, there are a lot of places who have free range chickens who
Mm-hmm.
live like chicken and they eat what chicken's supposed to eat
Yeah.
and they're just happy. So this is on the other hand, and also on the other side of veganism, when people are importing soybeans from South America and they're all being spread with a lot of chemicals to make them grow and not to have other plants or not to have any like insects going there. And then we also eat that. I don't think it's better than having the sick meat industry.
No, I think what I think is craziest about the meat industry is that we need to have like double as much place for us to eat meat, because we have to have like the food for the whatever, the chicken or whatever. So I think most like places where they grow soy and so those things is actually always just to feed animals. So it's kind of like it just takes up so much space.
This is true, yeah.
They just destroy the rainforest. They just plant soy, but it's not even soy for people, it's soy for animals, and then they feed it to animals
which are not supposed to eat soy to begin with,
which are not supposed to eat soy, which are treated incredibly badly and then imported, or even sometimes the food is then imported to other places. So we get also a lot of soy for the meat that we have here. I think it's really important to have a look, like, okay, is it a good like farm where they actually grow their own food for the animals? Do they grow the food for the animals, or do they just import it? Or is it all just like a whole like monoculture, or is it diverse? And I think there's also a lot of soy places in Germany, or like closer in like European neighbor countries, and I think then it's completely fine to just eat that and to go completely vegan. I think it's, as you said, like you really have to see, okay, what do I eat and where does it come from and what is the impact? Because for me, becoming vegan was always more like environmentalist reasons than animal rights reasons. Even though I'm like, I think no animal should be treated badly, but I was always just so struck by the thought of that it takes up twice as much place because you need to have all the food for the animal, so you just destroy twice as much. Everything.
But it's not mandatory, because in I don't know if it's the right way, but in more harmonious way, if you want to really have animals, then you need to have a space where the animals can roam, eat grass, and while they are in one place, so they eat the grass, you don't need to cut it off.
Yeah.
And they also shit there and they pee there, so they fertilize the whole ground. And you just get them like kind of rotation around the farm.
Yeah.
So you don't need so much food for them.
No.
And it's so easy to do that.
It is.
It's just not as comfortable and as sexy as it's to receive your food immediately in a nice package.
Yeah.
This is way nicer. And the soy was just an example because it's been recognized with vegans. But also like fruit from different places. We don't need it. We don't need mango if it's not the season.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that's true.
There is also something very important about eating local. You have the energy of the food, of the place that it's been growing.
Oh, that's very interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting thought. It's so true.
You get more connected with your environment because food is information. And I think this is also why when we buy cheap food or food that's been mass produced, we need to eat more of it because it's empty. True.
Yeah. And it makes you more hungry. They put things in to just make you more hungry.
Sugar.
And then sugar. It's so crazy. But then you don't eat sugar at all. Like no.
I do eat sugar, definitely. Yeah. I do have some times when I just eat pizza. It's sometimes my mental hunger is also very important. And I need that. But when I do eat sugar, when I cook with sugar, so I would like to make it as maple syrup or some other sugar source which is not heavily processed.
Yeah.
Fruit is a great source of sugar.
I think it's also a thing how much like it's processed actually.
Yeah.
Like the least processed, the better.
Yeah, exactly.
Because then you really know what you eat.
Yeah, but it also depends on the people and the way the food has been prepared. Like bread, for example, I think it's bad for most of the people. The gluten, not the bread, sorry. But there are some grains that if you ferment them for a little bit and you let them sprout and then you make bread out of them, then it's way healthier because it's been already... like the fermentation process got rid of the toxins that the grain have because it wants to protect the seed. And those stuff, we don't think about it. It's so complex.
Yeah.
And we think like we have rice and we have whole rice. Which is better?
Yeah.
What do you think? A whole rice is better than just white rice? Is it more healthier?
I would say it's whole rice. I don't know. Probably it's the trap.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because when you eat white rice, it's like having sugar.
Yeah,
But when
it
you eat
is.
whole rice, then it's more difficult to digest it because the grain wants to be protected from people who wants to eat it.
Yeah.
In the end, rice wants to be a rice plant. It doesn't want to be in our dish. So it
Yeah.
needs to protect itself. But then the best way is to eat and to see how it feels.
Yeah.
For some people, they can digest it. For some people, they get better with white rice. For me, white rice is amazing.
Actually, like whole rice, but better. But it really is like how you and your body feel with it, and like how, yeah, how your body is. And I think it's just good to be in connection with what you eat, because then you also can be in connection with your body.
Yeah, and that brings us to the beginning
That
of
brings
the
us to the
podcast.
beginning.
To
Yeah.
connect with ourselves and
Yes.
authenticity. This is also part of authenticity.
Yeah, what you eat. I mean, you know, if you eat fast food, be it. Like I think there's so much also like social stigma around like fast food and bad food. And some people are just not have been educated on what food is good for them. So I think there should be no judgment and no shame in what people eat. But it's just like being mindful about it, which is so important. For myself, I can't speak for everyone else, but I feel like just realizing, okay, what do I actually eat and how do I feel? How do I want to act on my feelings? Like just being in contact, that's super important.
Yeah. And also about this, when I realized that meat is making me feel sick, I had a mental process. It felt weird for me. What? I will not eat meat anymore? What will people think about me?
Ah, crazy.
Yeah, and I think also from the veganism side, it's also like that. When people are vegan and all of a sudden, if they will eat meat, their friends might turn against them. Or
Yes. There's so much shame. It's so weird, right? There's so much judgment and shame on what we eat. Like just because I'm drinking my coffee with like cow milk now doesn't make me less of a good person. I mean, I don't like cow milk, but you know, for example, but I don't know, there's some people who are just judgy, whether it's about, oh my god, you don't eat meat, or whether it's about, oh my god, you do eat meat.
yeah,
Those who matter don't mind, those who mind don't matter.
yeah, exactly.
It's,
It's a
I
strong
live
one.
by that. And it goes for everything, because there's always shame and stigma around everything, right? Like maybe period, maybe what you eat, maybe also like your like what you put out of yourself, like you know what you write, what songs you release, what podcasts you do, what books you write.
Yeah,
There's always judgment, and it's just like how you react to it. Will you
yeah.
let it shape
And
who you
also, who is
are?
the judge?
Right?
The
Yeah.
judger or the judge, whatever it is. Yeah. Who are those people who are
Yeah.
judging us?
Yeah. And do you want to be judged by them? And do you want to let their judgment do something to you?
Yeah.
Because at the end, you can still be like, thanks for the critique. I'm not taking it.
Yeah. If someone who does not know how to write songs will tell me that my song sucks, all right,
Yeah.
show me something better, inspire
Yeah.
me.
I mean, even if they do know how to write songs, it's their opinion, right? It's their,
Also, this, yeah.
and I can't change their opinion, but I'm not gonna make it my reality.
But then, also with this, I think there is a lot of bliss when people are judging, because I do believe there is at least 0.01% of truth there. There is a little bit of truth, depends on the
Yeah.
judging and on the person, but there is some truth there. And it reminds me when my band in Israel, I used to have a very heavy band. We used to play like Pearl Jam and Pantera together. And one of the concerts, we received this review from someone that we did not even knew. And he really killed us in a bad way.
Oh God.
He was talking a lot of shit about us. And of course, the first reaction was, fuck you. We don't care about your opinion. But then I took it a little bit into consideration that he might have some truth in what he's saying. And then we improved the way we performed on stage.
Nice.
So if it was right or not, we raised our level. So now our performance was way more engaging. And then also good reviews started to come afterwards. Not
Very
from him
good.
specifically, but yeah.
He never went to a concert again.
Yeah, Pain is a Bliss. Pain
Yeah.
is a Bliss.
That's a good one. I like that.
Shall we finish with Pain is a Bliss?
Yes, I think it's a good wrap up.
Yeah. How can people find you? What about your plans in
So-
the future for concerts if people want to attend?
So I don't have like concerts coming up in the time after this podcast is published. I have one next week, a small one with the producer and a few other people that he produced for, but then the podcast is not out. So maybe there's something. I think on my Instagram I'll be very actively posting about those things, and it's svisi.hudson, like Hudson, like the river, like the Hudson River. My Spotify is also Svisi. My TikTok is also svisi.hudson. I think there's ways to find me. And I hope the song is out by the 1st of October. That's what I'm working on right now.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
Good luck with everything. Thank you very much. for
Thank you
coming
very
here.
much. It was very nice.
Yeah, right back at you.
There are 4 people knowing that I mean you, and all the friends I've told might recognize you too. Yeah, there are 4 people knowing that I mean you, and all the friends I've told might recognize you too. But my father doesn't know who you are. Never told him I was laying in your arms. I never told my mother your last name. Never told my friend I hate her for the blame. There are a few words I would like to say, 'cause all the things we did nearly made me pray. There are pictures on my phone I made that day. It's crazy thinking that I just walked away. But my father doesn't know who you are. Never told him I was laying in your arms. I never told my mother your last name. Never told my friend I hate her for the blame. 'Cause I was too old for my age, too bold for my stage. But I just took the space that I wanted. I was enjoying it all, never regretting it, no. I just made you do what I wanted. I wanted your love. I wanted your love. I wanted your. Don't blame it on me. I was young and free with his hands on my waist. It came suddenly. Nothing was ever said. Didn't need to be. He kissed his way down so adoringly, like it was meant to be. Just get off my mind and come under the sheets.